Hi guys, welcome to Real Talk Football TV. I told you guys we're going to be consistent, and we're back. Got myself, Shat with Tobias. All right, let's go to Arsenal. 5 full seasons for Arteta there, Tobias. Now they got looks like they're going to get Calafiori, who looked decent, and then Timber's back, and that's basically like a brand new signing. He didn't play all of last year, injuries. 5 years now, one FA Cup. With the players they got, if they could bring in an attacking player that gives them the impetus to get goals, if they don't win the league, is that a failure for Arsenal? Because in my opinion, I think it's a failure. That it's 5 years, the team's been together, and you look at apart from Pep, Arteta's maybe the longest serving manager now at the Big Six, who's not really in the transition, who's got the players have been to the last game of the season before, just fell off maybe the last 6 or 7 games. Like now they have to win now.
Well, you mentioned all the things that was needed to mention, isn't it? In terms of how long he's been there. I've never been convinced by Arteta. I know you like Arteta, and you've been banging the Arsenal's year drum for the longest, longer than Arsenal fans, it seems. Yeah.
But, because every time I say it, they don't win, so it's quite good.
But what still stands for Arsenal still stands, as you say now. He's in that important part of his tenure at Arsenal. Like, there's no more hiding places.
No, there's none.
You know, so, and saying that he won the FA Cup with the team that wasn't his, since he's had that team, what has he won? So it doesn't all count on the league all the time. That's not what I'm saying. Problem being is that he hasn't been competitive in the other trophies. So if you're not successful in winning the Premier League, if you're picking up the FA Cups, the League Cups, a European trophy, Europa when it was in it, then it doesn't seem that bad. But now, if you're looking at stats-wise, Ten Hag's been more successful than Arteta.
Facts. Numbers that lie.
And if we see how everyone laughs at United and Ten Hag and how everyone lords after Arsenal, and we always go back to, okay, but they play good football. Good football doesn't matter if it's not winning football.
Facts.
So, yeah, you might be pretty in the eye, but the thing that still stands for me with Arsenal is the same as what stood last year. When you were challenging Man City, you had the top three of Salah, Firmino, Mane, you had Van Dijk, you had Alisson, you had Trent. Like, arguably on the cusp of world-class players, majority of them anyway. Where's Arsenal's?
That's a good point. Like, if you deep it, who is genuinely world-class in their side? Like, who is like you to say, yes, he is world-class? There's debate. Personally, I don't think any of the Arsenal players are, but there's not really a serious debate for any of them. I think Odegaard is the only one, if you're a massive Odegaard fan, with this current climate of players, that you have a decent case for being a world-class footballer. The rest of them is debatable.
And I think that's what they lack. They lack that one or two world-class players that will take them over the line. And Calafiori, I didn't get to watch him in the Euros, the one game he played. I didn't get to watch him, but he's been on everyone's lips since he played anyway. Everyone's been gassing about Calafiori since the Euros. There's always one player anyway that it ends up going like that. Who knows if he's going to be successful? We don't know. Timber, I like Timber. Timber's a good player. So, yeah, I suspect that if he's over his injury, he'll come back in good form, and he'll be a good player for them to have, because their left side, even though he's right-footed, their left side was probably their worst side, if you know what I mean. It was the weakest point of the team when you got Zinchenko back there.
And Calafiori can play left back as well. So
yeah, and he's a hybrid. And who knows, they maybe want to play the three. I don't know. But yeah, I think for me, that's what they lack. You pointed at the fact that they lack a striker. We've said many times that who are the number 9s out there now. So I feel sorry for them in that way, because where do you go unless you go big and go for an Osimhen.
But the thing is, you look at Arsenal. Arsenal fans will say, "Well, we scored more goals than anybody last year." They actually scored more goals than every team in the Premier League, and
Yeah,
which is mad. So they're not far off, because if you're conceding, usually the metrics are saying if you're conceding less than everybody else and you've scored more goals than everybody else, more than likely you should win the league.
yeah. They went through a month of stat padding, though, didn't they?
They did.
They had a hot month.
Yeah, everything just went in.
Everyone, they was battering everyone like fives.
Yeah, it's just mad. Yeah.
So they hit a hot patch. Now you're looking at a season of, you're expecting Saka to stay not injured again, fully fit for the whole majority of the season. And he's been.
But he's had a long
consistent.
season.
He's had a long season. He's had a long couple
always
of years.
plays and always plays.
Always plays. Arteta's not great with his subs like that.
No.
Are we saying that Havertz is now a striker? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Can you rely on Havertz? I just think that Arteta.
So do you think they're overachieved then? So you say for 2 years they've overachieved? Or are they just the second best team?
I wouldn't say
default?
they've overachieved. I think they've got a good team. They've got a good cohesive team. They work well together. So he's done well in putting together a team of sorts, but he spent money doing it. So it's not as if he hasn't spent money doing it. It's not as if he's, okay, we're going to use Klopp as an example again. He's done a Klopp and brought these players on the cheap. No, he's paid big money for a lot of these men. You sort of half expect it. Money is not the be all and end all of anything. You've still got to build a team. So he's been successful at that. For the Premier League's sake, Arsenal, because let's say we've got to admit that they're the closest. You expect them to be the closest. From 8th to 1st in looking at Man United, you don't see it. So I can't see that happening. Liverpool, you don't expect Slot to come in and pull up trees like that. You're hoping top 4 best. Chelsea, unknown.
You know what, Tobias? I like Villa. I like what they're doing. And they're going under the radar. And I think, to tell the truth, they're not far off the others, like the top sides. Apart from Arsenal and Man City, I think they're in a league of their own at this moment in time. But from 3rd to 8th, Aston Villa are in that cluster. And I look at their squad. They've got a strong squad. And what they've got over, basically, if you're going by reputation, bar Pep, they arguably have the second best manager in the Premier League.
I know, but they've let go of important players, haven't they? Luis is gone.
But they brought in Onana from Everton. I think that's. I think it's a good signing for them. I know what you mean.
I know if you're looking at Luis in terms of dogged but he's Onana what is he, a 6?
Yeah, but I think Onana. I think Luis is a better player, but Onana's upside is maybe higher.
On the ball, Luis is 20 times better. I don't see that you play him in a 6 with how Emery wants to play, and I think Onana will end up being like a Rice situation, where he's not good enough in the 6 to play how you want him to play, so you move him upfield.
But they brought Barkley back in, so Barkley
they've got Barkley.
Yeah,
and they've just sold Diaby for 60 mil to Saudi. So he was a important player, especially in terms of something important to come off the bench.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a bad first season.
No, he was actually.
So it surprised me that they let go of him. But 60 mil at the end of the day. If they feel like they can reinvest it elsewhere, they've got Matheson from Chelsea or Stroke Dortmund. So they've made. There was a funny signing from Chelsea. I didn't get that one, but they were swapping youth players. So I don't know much about that one. But I don't see it because being the first season in Champions League, I do not see them being able to be consistent like that. What I noticed with Emery's that team last year is very inconsistent. They had patches. And it was only because everyone else was so bad but they got to top 4, to be honest. They shouldn't have got it, if we're being completely honest. They fell
off a cliff at one time, yeah. They fell off a cliff.
So I'm not convinced. Good team, but they're not going to be up there, and you're not going to expect them to be challenging Arsenal and City. But for Premier League's sake, there's someone's got to break that cycle because it's getting ridiculous now. So if we're saying that Arsenal are the only ones, then as much as I dislike both of the teams, then you've got to be pushing for Arsenal as much as you never hear the last of it. It'd be like the last thing ever happened. But the positive that Arsenal have got is that, similar to yourselves, is that most of the fans are on side currently. And don't let that change though, because we know the Emirates can get toxic.
It can, and it can get toxic very quick. All right, for example, if Arsenal, say, came third, but picked up the FA Cup or the League Cup, I think Arsenal fans will go into meltdown because I think that to them it's still not enough. I think they feel that they have to win the league, and I believe that as well. I think it's been 5 years now. Like you said, they've spent a lot of money. And they've spent £100 million on a midfield player. The other players they've got have been there, not been there and done it, but they've been there. They know what a title race is about now. They've done it for 2 years straight and pushed Man City to the last game of the season. I think if they come second again, and especially if they don't win a trophy, I think they've underachieved.
No, I think if they win a trophy, I don't care what trophy it is, League Cup, FA Cup, but because the disrespect that League Cup has attached to it,
it's crazy.
Unless they win the FA Cup, then I think he's going to be problems for him. I do. Europe, can you see them going as far as they could in Europe? I think now with the signings Real Madrid made now, you're just looking at it thinking that's another season.
But the thing is, we even digressed, but to Real Madrid, I can see them being like how they were last year. They're going to be so random to play against, and they'll just blitz you for 10, 15 minutes and end up scoring 3 or 4 goals. That's how it's going to be.
Goals win games, man.
I'm telling you, they're a scumbag of a team. They're like a case study. You need to, because every time I watch them, they get bad.
But you know what they have?
They win.
They have man that play for the jersey.
Yeah, they got dogs.
And they play through it. Like they will go for it.
They got
like
dogs.
They do. They dig in. Like they have. You don't. They will scumbag like you said. They will scumbag their way through it.
Carvajal, Nacho. They've got guys who are just dogs.
But it doesn't matter though, because it's winning football.
It's winning, 100%. And I don't mind it. But that's how they are.
I think before that, if it was yesteryear, I don't think the Real Madrid fans will be having it. But at the minute, they can't be arguing about the success they're having, especially when the Galactico team never come nowhere near it.
Yeah, so, they only won one.
Yeah. So it's like that. I think for, as I said, Premier League's sake, it would be important to see who else they sign. I think that's interesting. I think that they need backup for Saka. I don't, especially if they let go of people like the Smith Rowe. Basically, the Smith Rowes, the Eddie Nketiahs, the Reece Nelsons,
need to go.
The Fabio Vieiras. Like, I don't think you can have how many of them can you have? I don't think they're the ones that come on the game and change the game for you, if I'm honest. To be honest, I don't think in the big moments, I don't think you can count on them to step up.
Yeah, they do lack a game changer. They do. Off the bench.
Yeah, off the bench.
Like if Man City with Doku, sometimes he starts, sometimes he doesn't. But when you can bring on a Doku off the bench, just gives you something different, just makes things happen. And I think. And
the know-how as well, because yes, a couple of their players, Partey, Zinchenko. Partey was probably the only mainstay in a winning league side. If you know what I mean. I don't think, was he there at Athletic when they won the league? Or was
I think he was, you know.
So he would have been the mainstay. Other than that, Zinchenko, Jesus. Who else? Who else was there? Odegaard at Real Madrid. I don't think there was never main players within a league-winning team. So that's what they lack as well.
Well, you can say that, Tobias, but Liverpool didn't have the players who won stuff, and they got over the line. I think it's the manager. I think it's the manager.
But we said that they had world-class players in the team. That makes a difference. Not having the know-how is one thing, but not having the know-how and not having world-class players in the team Do you know? Like that's just adding to what they lack, in my opinion.
No, 100%. All right, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe.
So hold on, what are you saying then?
What am I saying about what?
Is Arsenal winning it for you this year?
Yeah, I think Arsenal, and I can give you my top 4 before the it will change if people sign players.
No, you might as well wait then. I know where you're putting Liverpool anyway.
I'll tell you my top 4.
You're putting Liverpool fourth.
Let me finish. You don't know. You can't read my mind, bruv. Like, let me tell you.
I know you because I know you're the.
Oh my God!
You will do anything to just lower expectation on Liverpool,
bruv. Let me say it, and then you can talk in it. Like my top 4 is Arsenal first, Man City second, Man United third, Aston Villa fourth. I don't think we're getting top 4.
I told you you had the expectation.
No, bruv, I don't think
you see it. That's it.
Bro, we are Real Talk Football TV. We are out, man.
Hold on, I got one more thing for you, bro. I got one more thing to you. No mention of preseason games this week, no?
What games? We didn't play no games, man. That was a trading game, bruv. We are